What's up, clickbait? We are back for another episode with my lovely co-hosts, Joe and Natasha, and we are going to get into all the craziness because I feel like Bachelor Nation was quiet for a little bit. But of course, they're starting to chirp again. And, well, we're going to just break it all down for you. We have the Bachelor Nation breakdown as well as the clickbait of the week, talking about 15 immediate turnoffs in relationships to avoid. Well, we just want to help y'all out, as well as I'm sure some of my little co-hosts here can take a couple of tips. Is that right?
Yeah,
and I can't wait to hear your turnoffs.
Oh, it's going to be good. But then we also have Jason Tartick here as our guest today, and I cannot wait to talk to him. He was in the latest episode of Bachelorette, and so we're just going to talk to him about all things whoa, Bachelorette, craziness, Kaitlyn, marriage. Are you guys ready to get started?
Let's get into it.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
Let's go.
Okay, so for the first Bachelor Nation breakdown, we have Justin Glaze, who is on Katie's current season of The Bachelorette, addresses insensitive past tweets on Bachelor Happy Hour. Mm-hmm. And I will say, I actually had the privilege to talk to Justin on Bachelor Happy Hour just because I am co-hosting that right now with Becca. So I would really like to get your guys' opinion in on this. But basically, Justin, at the age of 14, was tweeting some insensitive tweets and, you know, called out certain minorities that he probably shouldn't be addressing and speaking to like that ever. So, but he had the courage to talk to us about it and really just talk about how he feels about it now. So I would love to get to know what you guys think.
Well, yeah, I like Justin from watching him on Katie's season. I don't know him. And I did listen to Happy Hour, so I listened to his apology, which I thought was important. Mm-hmm. I think owning up to dumb shit you did in the past is how to do it. And it's how you move forward and become a bigger and better person.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, I did a lot of dumb things when I was 14, 16, 17. And I think that's important to the context of his tweets. Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem like a person that would tweet that stuff now. Does it make it right? No. But it seems like he has grown. I also, you could delete your tweets. I'm not saying it makes it right that you tweeted them in the first place, but as you get older and you become more mature and you realize you said some dumb shit before, why not, delete them? I think when you go on a show like Bachelor, like, you should really think about everything that you have out there in the world, because it is going to represent you to an extent.
But I guess it's like you said, the context is like when it's done. It was done when he was really a child. So I think he's really grown. And that's the one thing that I took away from his apologies, that he's really grown since then. And actually the things that he's involved right now in his life completely counteract those accusations and whatnot, like being very involved within the LGBT community and volunteering his time. And that's just like who he is now. And that's not because he's doing it because these tweets were found out and he needs to make up time and he needs to do, volunteer work. It's because that's truly where his heart is. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it seems like he has changed as a person.
I think that his apology sounded sincere. Mm-hmm. For someone like me, I am a completely different person than I was when I was in high school and in middle school. And, he mentioned things like feeling like you are acting a certain way to be funny, to potentially make fun of someone else or a people in order to fit in. And I seen that, and we all know that kids, especially before the internet, were very mean, and the way that bullying was handled and the cool kids and the cool crowd and how certain people acted and you can't sit with us was so, I think, more, I think it was so much more amplified. And for people who were, bullied or oppressed or whatever you want to call it, they were just unseen. Whereas now with social media, people can have their voice and say, hey, this wasn't right or this wasn't cool. And you're seeing these awful videos go viral of people being hurt. So it's bringing and building awareness. But I do think that he owned it. And when we do things, and we all have, like you said, Joe, have done things that we're not proud of, but he owned it, and he didn't say like, oh, I was just 14, like, get over it. He definitely sounded very sincere in it, and I really appreciate that. But I also think that when we're kids, also, even like the type of TV that we consume, the type of media, the things, even the comedians, the stuff that people would laugh at, and the things that were funny back then, it's just people are like, yeah, that's not funny, actually. Like, because it's hurtful to people. And we didn't really have that awareness to those people who were being hurt. So I appreciate his apology and him owning it. I appreciate his apology. I also understand that when people are young and very impressionable, when they are, teenagers, it can be something that it's just we are a product of our environment, and when we know better, we do better, and we apologize. So I appreciate it.
And I also want to clarify that I'm not saying deleting a tweet makes it right by any means, but as
no.
Yeah, I know, yeah. But I'm saying it for our audience, and just as you change as a person, you realize you said things that you don't stand by anymore.
Right.
You have that option of taking them down. But if you do, I think it's very important where he owned up to it, which I think was the best thing he could have did. And he didn't say, oh, I was 14, who cares? Because they're still out there. And he did, even being 14, he did hurt somebody who could have been gay and 14 at the time. Yeah. And, that's hard. So, yeah, I mean, I think, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to get you guys' opinion on that, just because, I don't know, I think it's important for everybody to hear how we can grow, change, evolve. And, I think it's also nice to have friends and loved ones that can hold you accountable, but also just like help teach you and educate you as to how you can be better. So that's really all this conversation is,
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing on Bachelor Nation, I think we need to get a little levity in this room.
Yeah, right? Something a little more positive.
I feel a little like, oh, Lord. Okay, let me drink some grapefruit juice.
Bachelor Nation gets heavy every other week.
Yeah, sometimes we have tough subjects we have to talk about, but we got to do it.
We got to do what we got to do.
That's what we're doing here.
I love it. And I appreciate both of you guys' opinions. Okay, so next up, we have Leslie Murphy details crazy 36-hour hospital stay with baby Nora. For many of you that do not know, Leslie Murphy was on Sean Lowe's season, and she was also on Bachelor Winter Games. And she is a travel blogger now, and a lot of people really love her. So if you need to know more about Leslie Murphy, go find her on Instagram. But she actually just had a baby not too long ago, and this story like really breaks my heart, actually. And this again is just like being more aware as a mom, and I think us talking about things that we can, just making people more aware in the world of like what's going on. But her baby had to go to the emergency room. Apparently it started with like an earache, and then she started basically gasping for air. And when she went to the hospital, she was admitted to have the coop. Again, I just want to say thank you to all of the now mothers and fathers in Bachelor Nation, because they are teaching us a bunch about what to expect. And I think it's really nice that they're shining light on the things that we can experience as parents.
I think there's a fine line, even, I mean, not that babies are puppies, but I have a puppy. And it's like a fine line of like things of like, when do you go to the doctor, and then when do you not go to the doctor, and like you're like, oh, like how serious is this? You don't really know. And of course with her breathing and her monitoring her breathing, and like there's all these different devices with like the kids with the baby breathing that you can actually have, and that's why a lot of parents also have anxiety about having their baby in another room when they're so young, because so many things can just happen. So I think that, her putting this out there, and now if someone else could see her story and be like, oh, well, my baby's breathing weird, maybe it's this. And this is a very common thing that happens to babies. And again, like for a lot of people, I know people who have never held a baby ever, and then they have a baby, and this is the first baby that they ever had. My goddaughter's like that. Her mom never held a baby before. So like, you know, there were so many things. Literally every week she went to the doctor and we're like, she's doing this weird. She's doing that weird. Is she okay? Is she okay? So, you know, there's people like that. And then there's the people who've had 4 kids and they're like, oh, they're fine. And then you realize that maybe they should have went to the doctor. So I just think overall, when people use their platform to speak out, and this is such a scary thing, I think, and I mean, she relayed in this article and talked about how scary it was. And I mean, I know she probably thought that she was going to go to the doctor and they were going to say, oh, she's fine. I mean, she ended up there for 36 hours. That's like wild. That's crazy. Yeah. But it's scary.
Yeah, I know for me, like personally, like I never wanted to hold a baby for a big portion of my life just because they're so fragile and little. I'm like, look how small this baby is. I drop it, he dies. Like,
oh my God.
Well, or it doesn't die, but like it could really mess up the baby. And the head isn't developed yet. It's just
it's scary.
It is. It's scary. And that's like one of my biggest fears of being a parent. You know, when you have a baby and it starts crying, when it starts crying and you just don't know, you don't know exactly what's wrong. And because the baby can't really communicate, you freak out and then you run to the hospital. And then, like you said, Natasha, you're like, oh, should I have even went? Like this was a waste. But I mean, you never know. Like, I don't know. And I'm a very, I'm a hypochondriac and I would be paranoid. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, because I know it's like, I like right now, I have to take care of myself.
I have to take care of myself.
Even in Paradise, I legit
somebody
called
get this man an assistant.
I called the medic in Paradise I think like 7 times, 8 times. I had a cut on my foot. My stomach was hurting me, So,
Joe.
once I have a baby, I feel like I'm going to need a doctor on call. That's why I wish I had a close friend that was a doctor, because I would be,
I would send you medical bills.
Actually, thank God you don't have a close friend as a doctor. They would be really annoyed.
Well, what's good about my situation is most of my friends all have had kids already. So,
so you can call them.
One phone call away. And that's what's good about social media and what Leslie did. She's able to, kind of show the whole world what's going on with her baby, and we can learn from it.
But also, Joe, you have a really big family, so like I think
they're good at it, right?
Yeah, I think people who have like big families, like when they say it takes a village to raise a baby, it's like you can, just go down the call log and be like, okay, what? I feel like that's what I would do before, like.
No, I feel like Joe would just freak out and go straight to like the 911, like help.
Well, what I'm going to do is, Ma, here's my baby. I'll come back in 3 years. Okay? See you in 3 years.
Okay, moving on. And this Bachelor Nation breakdown is clickbait at its finest, and I love it because we're going to spill all the tea, and we're going to also clarify a lot. So Victoria Paul's Bachelor in Paradise photo. So last Thursday, the entire cast's photos were released, but this past weekend, Victoria Paul put up a side-by-side photo of her wearing the exact dress. No makeup on, hair kind of...
In her home.
Yeah, in her home. Hair kind of just, doing its own thing, not done up. And she still looks really pretty, but she kind of called... Wait, what was her caption, you guys?
Her caption was, what filter...
What filter is this at Bachelor?
At Bachelor
yeah.
Here's the thing about Victoria Paul's this caption and the post and everything. First of all, I think she was clearly kidding. I don't think
she
was...
a joke.
I don't think she was out now like trying to call out Bachelor in Paradise, but professional headshots and professional photos for television shows, for movies, for modeling, for anything, they're all edited. Yeah. I mean, that's how it works.
Very touched.
That's the name of the game. And Victoria Paul, that's how she looks in most of her photos, to be honest, except for when she's going to not wear makeup and dress down and make a silly face.
Well, when you're hanging out at home, yeah.
Yeah, of course. But I don't think she was like trying to call out Bachelor for being like, you're making us all look fake. Like, I don't think that's what she was doing.
No.
And I think that's what people are trying to say.
No, well, and honestly, that's the problem with all this. She was just teasing about a filter, and then people just run with it.
Well, also I also think that certain people, and you look at the comments and stuff like that, and certain people are like, oh, this person looks like themselves. This person looks like themselves. This person, who is this? What is this? But it's like, you also have never seen any of these people in person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, so that's where it's like, how do you know that they look like themselves, right? So I go back and forth with that. But it was definitely a joke. When I saw it, I laughed hysterically. I thought it was very funny. And also, but the post that she had before that about just like body image and things like that, you know, Victoria Paul comes from the pageant world, and there's so much pressure to look a certain way, be a certain way, put out on your Instagram and into the world to be a certain way, the certain perfection. I think that a lot of my friends that have done pageants they feel that pressure. And so knowing her and knowing how she feels about that, this was so funny to me. And that's why it was so funny to me, you know, because it's like, yeah, like, you know, not the same thing with some people who can't do an Instagram story without putting a filter on, you know, like without putting on, you know, the whatever filter. You know, we all get caught up in that, I think, when you're on your phone constantly and you're doing this and doing that and whatever. So it was funny. A lot of people picked it up because I think the perfection that is on Instagram, Us Weekly and E! News and all these different people who ran with the story, I think the perfection that certain people have, people just want to see, I think, more sides of influencers for the most part. And that's what people always say. But then the moment you post a busted picture of yourself, people are like, what was you doing? What's happening? She going through something. She having a bad day. Somebody go check on her. What?
But like, also, right? Truthfully, I think that there is that. But then also, I feel like so many people want to find something wrong within Bachelor Nation, like find like what's fake and what you're hiding, and you know, find something like we're being changed and manipulated and all this like crazy stuff. Like, no, it's like those memes, like what I look at like 9 p.m. before I go out versus like what I look like at 2 a.m. when I come home. Like, it's literally that comparison. It was nothing more than that. It was like a funny photo comparison Instagram as to like
versus reality.
Exactly. And people just love to run with it and think like, see, I knew it. These people are so done up and fake, and everything behind the scenes is fake. And you know, they're just, I don't know, making up these people to look completely different. Like, no, first of all,
people absolutely love to hate on The Bachelor and The Bachelor world. They're like it's like this malicious, like it was like as soon as Victoria Paul posted that, everyone's like, you see how fake Bachelor is. It's like I hate like, that. It was a fucking joke, people. Like, relax.
You didn't find anything. Yeah. You're not on some hidden trail. You didn't call us out. It was a joke.
Yeah, this is what I want people to do. Walk down the street, go look at every movie poster, and every one of those posters, every actor or actress in that poster, every photo is edited, like every one of them.
But again, how would people know that if they don't see them in real life? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I look at some of these supermodels, and it's like, when you go to Fashion Week, you're like, oh, what?
Yeah, like you look completely different.
Yeah, well, not completely different, but there's a difference. You see a difference. And it's because every time you see someone, it's in a magazine and it's photoshopped, it's retouched, it's this, it's that, it's all those things.
Well, there's lighting. There's lighting changes everything. And if you don't know that already, go try taking a selfie by the window with the sunlight hidden at you. I swear to you, you go from a 8 to a 10 real damn quick. I just have to say, though, stop getting it twisted.
Yeah, okay? There we go.
She was just making a little joke, and y'all ran with it. And it went everywhere, talking about Bachelor Nation, editing photos, making these people look totally different than what they are. You missed the point, honey. It was actually a joke. It's really not that deep.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. We have the clickbait.
Clickbait of the week. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm really excited because guess what? We're talking about turn-offs in relationships and what to avoid. And this article It was a Yahoo article, and they were talking about 15 immediate turnoffs in relationships. And so I'll go through some of them, but I need to know what's the first thing that comes to your mind, Joe, when you hear turnoffs. First thing, what is it?
Bad breath.
Oh, you gotta be that close to like.
Well, yeah, bad breath is a turnoff.
Okay, so question. So if you're at a bar, you meet
That's
a
the first
girl.
thing that came to my head, but go ahead.
Yes. So you're at a bar, you see a girl, you go up to her, you got to get close because it's like loud and stuff, right? And you're like, hey, what are you drinking? And she turns around, she's like, I'm drinking a margarita. And it's just foul. You're like, I'm drinking, I'm leaving.
Well, if it smells like margarita, like alcohol, it's understandable.
No, I mean, like, it doesn't smell good. It
But
smells
if
like
it's
she needs
like if it smells like a beer.
If it smells like a beer, that's fine. If it smells like what she is consuming at the time, I don't have an issue with it.
What if she just went to dinner and she had fish, and now she has fish breath?
Well, here's the thing: if we're going to dinner,
ouch.
If we're going to dinner and before she eats the fish, her breath smells like fish, then that's a problem. And me as well, like, but I'm a fanatic.
So what would you do?
To
So what would you do if a girl has bad breath? You're just like,
it depends on the situation.
would you give her gum?
I'm maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
What about morning breath, Joe?
Morning breath is understandable. We all have it.
Okay.
There's nothing you can't fight that. I don't know. It's the first thing that came to my head.
Good. Turn off.
I get what you mean.
Okay, Tayshia, what about you? I think
I also have to say is bad hygiene, like all around. Like I just, like I strive to have good hygiene. So
yes.
What if a guy has dirty
don't
nails? Nails, like,
okay, no, what's an absolute no. Depending, okay, I will tell you this. I have dated someone that used to work with their hands, so like obviously after work they have that, but like would literally come home, take a shower, clean his nails, and like they were fine. Sometimes it is acceptable, okay?
Yes.
However, if you ain't working, like if it's a Saturday, if it's a
regular day.
If it's a Saturday and you're at the brunch spot and you got dirt all over yourself.
Funky going on, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I agree.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the that was one of them. Bad hygiene. That was one of the things to avoid, and one of the turnoffs that was listed. Because we don't think that's cute at all. Go ahead.
And I guess what kind of falls into that category too is like how you chew.
Oh, so loud chewers, is that bad hygiene, or is that just like
no, that's just like I think of your mouth,
it's bad
like,
manners.
Yeah, it's just like like also something that bothers me when I think about.
Okay, so bad manners was something on the list, and chewing loud. So my question is, I don't think you can. Well, it's harder to change someone's bad manners. What if you told someone like, yo, close your mouth when you eat? Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, you could.
Do you accept it? Like, if you like someone, do you just accept it, or are you just like, you can't get over it, it's a turn off and I'm done? Like, that's my question. Because for me, I can't accept certain things and I'm just done. And other things, if I really like you, I'm like, well, I want to know why you do that. Like, don't smack your lips.
Or why don't you suggest? So why don't you be like, oh my God, were you really that hungry? Slow down.
Well, here's the thing. If it's something that bothers you, and you're in a relationship, you need to be honest with that person, or it's never going to stop. So like, I wouldn't have an issue if I had a girlfriend and she was chewing and food was getting everywhere. I would be like, hey, listen, I have a big problem right now. You're spitting your food in my face. And if this is how the rest of this relationship's going to go, I don't foresee it going much farther than this. I think you just have to be honest, even if it's going to hurt somebody's feelings. It's just the way you approach
break up
it.
with the girl because she eats pasta a little too sloppily.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Is that a word, sloppily?
If I was eating an ice cream cone and I was licking it and the ice cream was getting all over my shirt and everything, and the girl that I was with was like, hey, like, you're eating like a slob, like, stop, like, slow down. I would say, you know what? You're right. You're right. Or I would say like, this is who I am as a person. Don't try to change me.
And then she has to decide.
Then she has to decide, do I want to be with the guy that eats ice cream like a mess the rest of my life?
Oh my gosh. You know, don't try to change me. This is who I am. She's trying to help you out, not to get your shirts dirty from eating ice cream.
I would change if I was eating ice cream like a pig.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I don't. I eat ice cream very nicely.
Sure?
Yes.
It was very specific.
Uncle, you want me to pull ice cream out right now?
Yes,
my fridge is right there.
But, okay, so speaking of this, one of the things that I did want to point out, because we're talking about food, one of the things was people whose whole personality is, I don't eat vegetables, I don't drink water. Like, you're just unhealthy. Something, and you guys know people like, I know people like that who are like, I don't drink water.
Do you? Like, who
Zach
runs around bragging how they don't drink water or eat vegetables?
That's weird. Zach doesn't eat fruit. I mean, he doesn't like run around and like make it known every single day, but like, I will get like, for trying to order something and there's fruit on it, he's like, I'm not touching that. Like, he hates fruit.
He doesn't eat like
literally, like if there's, oh my God, you guys, it's
it's a problem.
I've been on board with Zach. I've been on board with Zach for so many things.
I know.
Tayshia.
I know. And it's the fruit, and it literally everyone says this, and it's so funny. I mean, I've gotten used to it now at this point, but like, let's just say like there's like a cheesecake, okay? And he loves cheesecake. I love cheesecake. Say we want to splurge on a dessert. If it's a strawberry cheesecake and the strawberries are on top, he will not eat it. So I literally have to say, can you scrape the strawberries off, put it on the side? I'll eat it. And then like Zach will eat the cheesecake. Like, he will not touch fruit ever.
But what about on its own? Fruit on its own, like a fruit bowl?
Like
no, are you joking? One time he was on a run. He got a granola bowl from somewhere and they put like blueberries on it. He literally picked every single blueberry out and threw it out so just so he could have the yogurt and the granola. Okay. I know, my boy. He's a special one.
I will say my biggest turn off, and this is I think one of the reasons why I love dating really chill men. Like, one of the things on here was the lack of humility. I cannot stand a guy who, or girl really, who just, their head is so big, or like they just like they're above this or above that, or like that's why I love chill guys, because they just like, oh, it's cool, oh, it's all right, okay, like they're just it's way more it's just really hot when like guys are like that, but
just easygoing.
Yeah, just
whatever.
Easygoing. Yeah, like the guys who will just like, or people who are just really anal and like rude, like that. I'm like, oh, you said who? No, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah,
I think it all leads into controlling and all these different, like I can't stand controlling men either. So like that, like all of that kind of bleeds into each other. So for me, if I like dating a guy and he says something that's like really arrogant, I'm like, huh? What?
Well, yeah, I mean, arrogance is just a shitty quality when somebody's really arrogant and thinks they're better than everyone.
But I know women who like, yeah, he did that. Ooh, like,
no, that's too much. No,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it could come across as confidence,
right?
And
sure, absolutely.
People,
and there's a thin line, right?
Yeah, I'm on that thin line. I mess with that thin line a lot.
You do?
Yeah, I'm always.
I could see that.
I think,
but I'm all over the place.
No, but I feel like you're more sweet than.
I think so. I think I'm sweet, like fruit. All right. Yeah. Well, I think we touched on this enough. We, everybody's got something that turns them off.
Yeah, guys, who's listening, let us know what your biggest turnoff is. Just what's the first thing that comes to mind? Just it's a no for me.
Yeah. First thing that comes to mind. Don't think about it too much. All right. Well, you know what? It is that time. It's time for our guest. I'm very excited about this guy. He's a good friend of mine. He's from Becca's season of The Bachelorette, and he's making his way in the financial world, and he also is engaged to Kaitlyn Bristowe. Everyone, please welcome my good friend to the podcast, Jason Tartick. Jason, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good, Joe. How are you, man? It's been way too long.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm good. I'm chilling. Chilling.
Joe's always been my guy since night one in that mansion till now. Always a big Joe fan.
Really? Both?
Yeah.
Yeah. We hit
Jason,
it off, and then he left. He left night one. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But we actually became not Bachelor friends after the show, real friends. So
it's cute.
Yeah.
Joe,
good.
I agree. It's tough. You know what? It's tough to say that, and like in all honesty, but that's 100% true. No doubt.
Yeah. Yep. So
and
let's.
nice to meet you. Hi.
Nice to meet you, Natasha. How are you? Tayshia, always good to see you.
What's up?
Yes.
What's up?
All right. So let's talk about this past week's episode because we saw you there, Jason. Connor was the date you were on, and he went home. You want to like kind of break that down for us because it did look like he was going to stick around.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Connor is such a great guy, and I love that you could see that through watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's funny, good sense of humor, great job. Math teacher is like so passionate about the work he does, and he's like a musician. I mean, the guy's a full package.
Yeah.
So like such a sweet dude. But I will say this, like. There, you could tell when we were there for sure. There was definitely like Katie's great and Connor's great, but there was something off with the chemistry. You could kind of feel it. You wanted it to work. You're like, come on, like get this together. But it just, I don't know, something was missing.
And you felt that.
I felt that. Now actually one funny thing before the date even started, it's in air, but we were talking a lot. Like she sat down before she introduced who it was going to be, Katie, and she was telling us about this whoa challenge. And I would like, instead of dropping it, I was so wildly intrigued by it. So I was like getting in the weeds. I'm like, so tell, like, how did this start? How are you going to know if they're telling the truth? Then Kaitlyn started asking about my whole thing. And I mean, we got in the weeds. So I was like, are they going to show this or not? That was all before Connor. Then Connor came out. He's a great guy.
That is so funny.
All right. This is a question for everybody. Chemistry. Do you feel like chemistry could be something that happens later on in a relationship, or do you think you need chemistry right off the bat?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I mean, so my take on that is if you don't have and you got to have some kind of initial spark. Like, I think there's got to be something that is attracting you to the person you're talking to. It could be physical chemistry. It could be the way that your endless conversation. There has to be that magnetic energy in some capacity. And I think without it, it's just tough for a relationship to develop, grow, and honestly be sustainable.
Do you think Connor thought there was chemistry? Do you think like he felt it?
You know what? I felt bad for it when like we were doing the grilling scene.
Oh,
First of all, when we were doing the grilling scene, I don't know why we had so much food there, and it was just four of us. And also, I don't know why I put a hot dog on top of or a hamburger on top of a hot dog. That's besides the point. But when we were sitting there talking, like he was like just telling, like spilling his heart to me of how into Katie he was and how their chemistry. Told me night one how he thought he was going to get the first impression rose, but they totally hit it off. So like he was totally feeling the vibes. But in my opinion, something had to change after that date for him. He must have picked up on it because, you know, we saw last night when she came to the door. First of all, I was like freaking tearing up over here. I'm like, what the hell? But he says, like, I know where this is going right away. Right. So you had to feel that he must have known that there had to be some kind of misbalance because he was like pouring his heart out about her and how much he cared for her, that he's falling in love with her. And I was just like, oh no, because I just didn't see it.
Well, I will say that it was released this week that Connor will be on Paradise. And,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, so Joe and I got to meet Connor actually, and he is a very nice guy. And he did open up to me at one point about how he felt about Katie, and he definitely had strong feelings for her. So it was hard. It's hard to watch the episode and see them break up, and even just how sweet he still was while he's getting broken up with. You know, really, really nice guy.
Jason, what are your thoughts right now on Katie's season though?
I think she's doing a great job. I love the vulnerability aspect of her. I love her transparency. I think like the first two episodes, I was like waiting to see the Katie I got to see when we filmed, and now I think we're seeing it full force. Yeah, and it's been exciting. I think it's going to get even better too. What do you guys think?
There's just a part, and I feel like right around this part is when things start getting a lot more serious. Like you can tell it was hard for her to have that conversation with Connor. Yeah. And that's when I start really loving the show. The beginning, I'm like, okay, this guy, you know, it's like this is when the lead really gets into their feelings, right? And I'll be like, yes, this is what we're here for. So I'm so excited for the rest of this season because I think this is where we're going to really see more of the vulnerability, more of these guys, you know, pouring their hearts out and just what the show is about and like her finding her love journey, you know?
I want to know like what your top picks are now that because I know you've been watching every single week and this is not your first season. You've watched a lot of seasons and you really have good insight. I want to know who your top picks are for Katie.
Here's my top picks for Katie. I think her and Greg have wild chemistry. Like it's tough. From the get-go they did. Last night she said that he's the best kisser. So it's tough not to say Greg. I think Blake is like coming out of nowhere, out of left field. He's coming in and he's coming in hot. What I like about Blake's chemistry with Katie is it's quirky as all hell. I just found out actually he's a Hamilton, Ontario guy. That's right around the street from Buffalo. We're like neighbors. So,
you in Buffalo. I cannot with you.
We're obsessed. So, but you could tell the guy's got it in him. He's down to earth. He's like, he's quirky as shit. I don't think he's as smooth at all as like, I'm going to put that out there. I don't think he's as smooth as Greg, but him and Katie got something that's undeniable. And then, I mean, how do you not love Andrew S. and Michael A?
I know.
Those guys, I mean, I'm ready to fall in love with the dudes off watching, right? And you can see like, what's cool is you can see her relationship has so many different aspects with so many different guys. And I don't think the strength of those relationships is the same in any one of those. So it will be interesting to see like which way she ends up like going and why. But it's been fun to watch. And then the thing I'll say about Justin is like, first of all, he's got the best reactions of anybody, I think, in Bachelor history without saying any words.
The best.
That's for sure.
The best.
I can't, but I haven't like heard. I feel like I haven't heard him talk much.
I know.
And then Franco, who did their little like, their engagement photography. I was like, if Franco, I don't know if you guys know if he's up for hire, like maybe for the wedding with Kaitlyn and I'd be a good addition.
Oh my gosh,
he lives in New York.
Good.
He lives down the street from me. I will ask him for you next time I see him.
Yeah, give us a little plug.
See, like, hey, you free? I have a job for you.
Speaking of, we do want to get into that. I mean, the video, everything that you guys post on social about the engagement, it was so.
I know.
Did you like? I just recently found out that one of my friends who got engaged, like her guy had like carried the ring around for 4 months. Like, did you just know Did you know when you wanted to do it? Like, take us through the thought process of this. I love these type of stories.
Yeah, and like when you knew that you were ready to marry this woman.
Yeah, I knew a while ago I was ready to marry this woman. It was just that the problem is there's so many moving parts in our lives right now. And to me, the biggest part of the engagement, no matter what, wasn't the thrills or, the money or any of the stuff behind like what I would do, right? It's more about literally her friends and family. So for so long, how can we figure this out? How can we get her family? Then I have a plan. Then COVID hits. Then what the hell are we going to do?
Right.
Then the summer of 2020, if you remember, kind of COVID like pulled back a little bit. So I thought we had a good plan in place. And then boom, Dancing with the Stars hit, and then Kaitlyn's, and then Canada totally shut down. So the planning process was an absolute nightmare of trying to figure out what I could do. But then it got to a point like you can't let the uncontrollables control your entire life. So just had to make something work. And I was fourth in inches from being able to get this done. When we went to go see her parents in Mexico. We were going to see her mom for the first time in a year and a half. And then I ran into all these border issues actually bringing the ring over. And so, I had to detour the whole plan because I was going to do it in Mexico with her mom and had this whole setup.
Oh, shoot.
And then I realized I couldn't bring this over.
You couldn't just like bring it in your pocket, like.
So if I bring it over as like my asset, it's like considered an asset of mine, and at the value of what the ring is, I would have to totally disclose it and then show receipts. And I'm traveling with Kaitlyn, so how can I? And if I did do that and it got sniped, it would have been a whole production.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
It'd be awful. It would be awful. So then I found this out, by the way, like 7 days before we were traveling. So I was scrambling. I'm like, what the hell do I do? How do I make this sentimental and everything? And I was actually like totally venting to my mom, like, you got to be shitting me. Like, finally, this is it. And it got pulled. So my mom actually, it was a big part of helping me come up with the creative. She's like, you guys met on the podcast. I was like, So I proposed to her on the podcast. She had no idea.
And that was before the trip to Mexico.
That was literally 2 days before.
Oh my God. So it literally, you just winged it. You were like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do it before. So that way she can wear it on her hand.
Exactly, because then it's hers. There's no issue there.
Got it.
So, and the way we got actually, it's funny. We got her manager to tell Kaitlyn that it was like this, that she had a big Apple sponsorship for this deal, like a huge. So they had to have video there. So Kaitlyn is like walking around like she's like the queen, thinking she's like, I'm
badass. I got Apple code.
She's like telling me, she's like prepping me before, like, okay, you got to be right. Like, it's got to be good. Okay, I'm just dying. And so when it all happened, it was priceless because she had no idea. And it's funny. It's like once the dust settled and everything else happened that day, she was like, Cleo, she's like, so like, do we still have an Apple deal, or was that like part of the deal?
That's exactly what I would have asked.
She really can't get mad because, she got something really good out of it all. So she really can't get mad. But that's a really good, like, that was a cool good job.
But where's Apple?
Well done.
And what's cool about that is that so many of my friends, I talk to them, like, give me advice. They're all like, listen, you're going to talk and you're going to black out. You're not going to remember anything. Yeah. So it's cool that we actually have the audio for the first time we met and the proposal, which is we like share with our kids and stuff like that.
I love that.
So wait. So I got to know, were you nervous? Did you like have that blackout bachelor moment, like when you get out of the limo?
Joe, nervous. I was shitting myself. I was upstairs like doing laps. I grabbed a beer. I was like sipping a beer up there, freaking out. And then this is the funniest part. So we're supposed to have guests come on, right? So the whole thing was like, there's a guest, and all I have to say is, Kaitlyn, there is no guest today. Clea, her manager, tells me literally like 15 minutes before. So we do need a podcast in the queue. So I actually need you to podcast for 30 minutes. I was like, I have to act, like, you want me to I have to propose in 30 minutes, and I have to actually, you got to be kidding me. So I'm the whole time, Joe, 30 minutes, like I am.
You were dying
out and like, just absolutely dying. And then the thing is when the guest came on, like my part to remember, there is no guest. I kind of froze. So Kaitlyn's like, let's bring on the guest. And I'm like, I went paralyzed. And then she's like, Cleo, the guest can come on. And Cleo didn't know what to do because that wasn't in the script. Like, what do we do if Jason forgets? And so finally, I was like, Kaitlyn, this is what I said actually. I was like, Kaitlyn. And she's like, what? And I stand up and I had my recorder. And she thought I didn't record it. So she's like, did you not record the podcast? I was like, no. She's like, oh, it's okay. My recording's going. Don't worry. Just sit down. And finally, I got it out.
I love hearing this from your perspective, or like, your point of view, just because we hear Kaitlyn's and like we could see it, but like knowing how nervous you were and like how it didn't really go according to plan, and knowing like how much you were freaking out. I love it. There's something about, I don't know, knowing that guys get so nervous to get down on one knee and like actually freak out about that is so endearing. It's like my favorite part to listen to. So that was really sweet.
I've never been in that situation, but I feel like
I'm sure when it happens, you'll be freaking
a nervous wreck no matter. No matter
Joe,
what.
I remember you coming out of the limo night one, and you like having a plan, and you're like, I had a small thing to do, and you totally like the pressure got to me. I butchered it.
I couldn't have butchered it any worse. Like it was like, whatever you do, don't talk when you get out of the limo. I start blabbling. It was such a mess, but
I love that.
That's how I do things.
How long did you have the ring before you proposed?
It was a few months before.
And you asked her parents, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Asked her parents. What's cool is I did it on a Zoom and they didn't know I was recording that. So when I asked her parents, I actually have that recorded for like down the road and stuff. Yeah.
Wait, you guys dated for how long?
We dated, so January 2019, and then I proposed in May, so about 2 years, 5 months or so.
And when would you say that you knew?
I think after probably the first 6 months was like the honeymoon bliss. Everything is perfect. Of course, like you're like, this is the person. Yeah. And then I made the commitment to move to Nashville. So that was a huge stepping stone.
Right.
But probably in like full transparency, that first, and for anyone listening, like I'm a huge advocate, move in together first. Because you learn so much about your living habits.
Yeah.
And there were so many things to work through. And so like that was a roller coaster period. And so with every relationship, if you don't have a roller coaster period, you probably just don't have the ability to communicate. Because if you can communicate, you're never going to see eye to eye on everything.
Right.
And the question is like, can you grow from that as one or not? Can you make it so that history doesn't repeat itself and you guys can move together as one? And we had, tons of disagreements and arguments, but the fact that one thing I noticed different than any other relationship is like, I'm not good at communicating like negative feelings. I'm not like, if something is on my mind and it's like irritating me, I'm just like a stone wall. I don't want to talk about it.
Really?
I don't want to, I'm just like, I don't want to go, like, I just try to like
I'm
ignore
very
it.
similar.
I'm like, no. But if it's good feelings, like, you're beautiful, I love you, I'm good at that.
Yeah.
And she was the first person I feel like ever that could sit me down and just be like, tell me, like, what are you feeling? And that's something I like need to work on, and I am working on. And when we had that conversation, I could open up my thoughts, and she was receptive to it. And like literally as a unit, we were getting better and better. To me, I was like, this is it. Like because life is more than just like you said, the romantic part or just the physical chemistry. Like this is a life partner through so much. Think about the shit you go through in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And you need someone that like you can talk to, open up, and like grow as a person. And that was it for me. It was a few months after we moved in together.
Yeah. Wow. And not run away when they hear your feelings.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason, you're just so mature. I fucking hate it. Okay. What?
It's so good. It's so good. Drop some dimes for our listeners.
Have you guys got any wedding wedding?
Joe?
Do you guys have any wedding plans?
Yeah. I think he just glitched.
I think I did. Yeah.
You can blame it on Zoom these days. We're like full out planning mode. We have met with several planners. You would think getting a planner is just snap your fingers and do it, but we have a lot of moving parts with it. And we actually had a really good meeting yesterday. So once we narrow in on this planner, which we actually haven't, we're almost there. It's going to be full speed of like the date and stuff like that and location. And we just, that's our first step is really meeting with the planner. And we've met with a ton of them.
That's exciting.
That's
so exciting. But
will you be getting
so my business side is like, you add wedding to anything. And, Kaitlyn's like, let's do this. I'm like, all right, we got a budget. Let's stay within this. That shit is crazy. But it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Will you be getting a Canadian citizenship?
I would love to. In a second, I would. So I know Kaitlyn will. The first step will be make Kaitlyn a Canadian, U.S. citizen. Yeah. Because we will 100% reside here. Maybe have like a summer place or something like that. But we'll definitely reside here and raise a family in the States. But if I have a chance to get a dual citizenship for Canada, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Be really great. Wow. This is so good. I love all of this. So happy. It makes me so happy to hear.
I know. It's been fun.
Do you?
What is it like watching Kaitlyn host? I mean, you guys weren't expecting that, number one.
Yeah. We weren't expecting a lot of things actually. And like the last, between her season being replayed and then to her to go on Dancing with the Stars and then to be hosting, it has been just a wild ride, but it's so exciting to see her just like live out all her dreams, right? Winning Dancing with the Stars. That was like, I feel like that's the most excited I've been in my life. And I was just sitting there with Lo getting hammered watching her.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
But watching her host is like, it's a dream come true for her. And I like that. What's really cool is with Kaitlyn is like, Kaitlyn's Kaitlyn, and she's her own person, and she'll never conform to like how she should be or should act or she should say a thing. She's always just her. And it's fun, even in like a formal hosting role where like you should be all those things, she's still like just herself. And it's so fun to watch.
Well, I know that firsthand, okay?
Although I will say this, and Tayshia, you know that too. You're killing it too, Tayshia. You're doing seriously such a great job. It's fun. It's awesome to watch both you two who have been through it be able to talk to someone who's now going through it, because you're getting a different perspective. But the one thing I'll say while we're on this, if you're going to give me the platform to say it, I think it's just absolutely like, I don't know why people think it's okay to say the shit they do on Twitter. There's so many things in this world we can control, and there's so many things we can't control. Our looks and things like that are most of the things we can't control. And the way that people make comments and like nasty comments about people's appearances, and obviously specifically I'm referring to Kaitlyn, it's grotesque. It's a joke. And I don't see why people have to do that. And the other thing is, I honestly feel like it's more like the fact that it's usually women putting other women down is just insane. Like if when Chris Harrison was up there, were people talking about like Chris Harrison's looks, or when a guy's up there, they're not like, oh, Joe, your haircut's this, or why'd you shave? Like, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know why people think it's okay. And people see it, people hear it, and they feel it. And whether they show it or not, it's gotta end. It's insane.
Say anything about anybody. You don't know. You don't know these people. You don't know their lives. You don't know what happens behind the scenes. Your opinion is your opinion, but also like there's a human being behind whoever you're watching on that TV screen or behind that cell phone screen, whatever. So just watch what you say to people because you don't actually know them.
And people are such haters, and Kaitlyn's obviously very successful and always crushing it. So people are just always, and we actually talked about it earlier in the episode, how it feels like people attack Bachelor, just like they're always trying to find something that Bachelor's doing malicious, like the Victoria Paul edited photo and everything. And it's just like, people are always trying to take other people down. And it's, I mean, nobody wants to hear like, somebody making fun of the way they look. I mean, it's just never stopping, but hopefully as a society, we do better.
And it's definitely not okay. And also the truth is these people who hide behind the internet, they'll see Kaitlyn in person and be like, oh my God, you're so amazing. You're so beautiful. We love you. And it's like, you're the same person. Like, say it to my face. You won't. You know what I mean? Yeah, so like, she's lucky to have you and to have someone who loves her so much to really, tell her she's beautiful. Tell her that, and your voice matters. These people on the internet, just bye. But like you said, it does affect you and it does hurt. You're going up here to work and someone's talking about what you look like. It's crazy.
Right. Exactly.
It's crazy.
And I don't think like it's like, no, I'm not playing like the victim card for her or anything. Like obviously, like you guys said, what a great opportunity. All of us have been blessed to come on this show and these things have happened. So with the bad comes good. But when you see some of the bad, you're just like, oh, she's aged. Well, yeah, we all fucking age. Like, what
the heck?
Like, what do you want to do about
Button.
that?
Like, what?
We all age. We all die. That's inevitable. Like, come on. Kaitlyn will put people on blast, which is something I've always said, like, I don't know why you do it. But then the more I see her do it, and then to your point, Natasha, the more these people like reach out to her, be like, you know what, I'm sorry, thanks for calling me out, now I'm accountable, I really just wanted your attention. You're like, shit, maybe you should put people on blast.
I mean, I definitely, when I first got off the show, I was like, clap back nation. Okay, look, you want to what? I was like there, but then I was like, you know what? Like now, like Joe said, I don't subscribe to it. Sometimes you see something and I'm just like, whatever, you're clearly having a bad day, I'm done. But at first, it was very, very hard not to respond and say, like, excuse me, what? You don't know my life, right?
Yeah. Jason, honestly, buddy, it's always good talking to you. I can't wait to see you in the real world. We could have some beers, some shots, and talk about everything we want to talk about. Anyways,
everything we can talk about here.
Tell our listeners where they could follow you.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. It's been a while, and it's good to see you guys. And nice to meet you too, Natasha. Thanks for having me on. So on every social handle, I have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, Jason_Tartick. I also have a podcast called Trading Secrets, where we're talking all things money and business from A to Z in every industry, which is fun. And for anyone out there that's trying to, trading is a big thing right now, and trying to learn and take ownership of your finances for your independency is huge. I have a trading app that has a budgeting tool, and it's very educational based. It's free, and we're giving $60 away to any new user that joins, that you can buy stocks for as little as $10. So if you have interest in that, just shoot me an email, restart@jasontartick.com. And I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks, Jason.
Wait,
Thank you, Jason.
what's the name of the app?
So the app is called Fintron.
Fintron. There we go.
Fintron,
Put that out there. Fintron.
Awesome.
Download
Good
that.
stuff.
Guy's
Thank
crushing
you
it
so
in the
much.
financial world. He's interviewed every Shark Tank judge out there, I feel like.
Yeah, we've had them all on. And we got
That's awesome.
Gary Vee coming up. We just had Rob Dyrdek on, and that guy is a genius.
No. He's
Wow.
really smart.
Yeah.
Probably one of the smarter humans I've ever spoken to in my entire life.
Really?
Wow.
Oh
That's
my,
awesome.
Tayshia, we'll
Interesting.
talk over some wine.
Yeah.
This guy, I've blown away by that guy's
Wow.
brain. And you would
Wow.
never know it with like the stuff he does.
Yeah.
Blown away. It's insane.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
crazy. Okay, I'm interested in that.
Yeah,
Love
for
that. Thank
We'll
you
take
so
a
much,
listen.
Jason.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Jason. It was
Yes,
so
guys.
fun.
Good to see
Jason, I'll
everyone.
see you.
All
Thanks
right,
for
Joe.
hopping on.
Send me some of that sauce, will you?
You got it, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you so much, listeners. And thank you so much, Jason, for coming on and talking about all of the things with us. This was such a fun episode. And we cannot wait to talk to you guys next week.
Yes. And as always, make sure to subscribe and submit all your burning questions. Check us out on social and like, comment, DM us. You know where to find us at clickbaitbn on Instagram and Bachelor Nation Pods on Facebook and Twitter.
And share your stories with us. We want to know what clickbait you guys are getting into this week. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Wondery app, or wherever you guys are listening right now. Hit the subscribe button.